Skywatch Media News for the last week of May 2018. The search for an elusive object hidden in the outskirts of our solar system is getting very real, while the evidence of a dwarf planet with a strange orbit knocking at our door continues to grow. Astronomers insist that the mounting evidence of a wandering planet in our solar system has absolutely nothing to do with Planet X, since there is no evidence that the object of doom actually exists. This is a scientific punchline. This is how they convince the public that there is nothing to worry about with respect to end times conspiratorial speculation. But in order to meet their objective that the planet of the ages only exists in myths and folklore, they must muddy the waters and create a clever diversion tactic. So how can they cast doubt in people's minds about whether a perilous object exists? Actually, it is not as complicated as it sounds. What they managed to do was to state that something is lurking beyond Pluto's orbit that appears to be warping the outer solar system, but it will never get close enough to Earth to cause any concern for humanity. And by the way, we have a new name for this mysterious object. We will call it Planet 9, since Pluto is no longer classified as a planetary body in our solar system, and because the 10th planet does not exist for lack of evidence. The space agency has done a good job of convincing the public that Nibiru is an unreal world. After all, doomsayers have been predicting its arrival for decades. Anything that has ever been said about the elusive planet of the crossing is mere speculation. Where is the proof that something exists? If you repeatedly cast doubt in people's minds, it will become believable. When the catastrophic Earth changes kick into gear, and the bizarre and unprecedented weather events begin to escalate, when changes in our atmosphere become noticeable and the erratic movement of the jet stream causes havoc with the climate, it will all be explained as part of a natural process. This is the space agency objective, one that includes a game of deception. But there are professional astronomers who are genuinely interested in finding the elusive planet, which they believe exists in the solar system. They are convinced that something very large is out there, because data is showing that something is having a gravitational influence on the outer bodies of the solar system, which include Neptune and Uranus. So, is this revelation of another planet a propaganda campaign, or just a ploy for time in anticipation of some big event that will sweep the world in the near future? The answers that many of us seek may be found with the team of astronomers who recently discovered a wayward dwarf planet called 2015 BP 519. The team that made the discovery indicates that the planet has an extreme orbit. It's inclined some 54 degrees to the plane of the other planets, which implies that it is a considerable distance from Earth. So what then, if any, are the implications of this discovery? Neptune, which is the furthest planet in the solar system, a giant body that is 17 times the size of Earth, should be a dominant enough force to keep the newly discovered dwarf planet in line with the rest of the solar system. And yet, this is not happening. The bizarre behavior of this newfound planet indicates that something massive is tugging and pulling at the smaller objects. Here then lies the mystery and the proposed evidence for the existence of a large planetary presence, a new member of our solar system, a wanderer of the ages. What astrophysicists call Planet 9, and what we refer to as Planet X. The proposed idea that something big is out there was suggested back in 2014 when the dwarf planet Sedna and an object named 2012 VP113 were following unnatural paths. 2 years later, in 2016, there were more of these wayward objects that were found to be out of place. This brought about the Planet 9 hypothesis, as opposed to some so-called imaginary planet that was wandering through the solar system and that was said to be on a collision course with Earth. By removing the theory that something exists in the solar system, regardless of whether it is called Planet 9 or Planet X, a whole new set of theories would be generated that scientists must try to explain in a manner that is acceptable to the public. This could create further problems for an agency that is running out of excuses on why Earth is experiencing a series of unprecedented changes. Since 2016, a multitude of trans-Neptunian objects, as they are called, have been found in places where they do not belong, and with orbits that should not exist. What is odd about this entire story is that researchers are more willing to bolster the case for the existence of a new planet in our solar system, an elusive object that is influencing a host of other planets, while at the same time being dismissive of the notion that a rogue planet X exists. Even though there appears to be strange similarities between the descriptive analysis of a Planet 9 and the historical description of Planet X that is contained in ancient manuscripts. Whatever it is that is gripping the Earth, it is having a profound effect on people's behavior and their perception of reality, because it is apparent that there exists a genuine sense that something isn't right. Catastrophic Earth changes are kicking into gear. The situation that is unraveling in Hawaii should be a wake-up call to anyone who lives near active volcanoes or in the vicinity of major fault lines where the potential for seismic events is a real probability. As the volcanic activity from the Kilauea volcano continues to increase, new problems are arising for the island residents who are the most vulnerable to the effects of an eruption. There are two major concerns at this time that are connected to the ongoing eruption that pose safety concerns for residents of southeast Hawaii. One has to do with the formation of fissures that are opening up in many locations in the rift zone associated with the flow of lava. As of May 24th, a total of 23 fissures have opened up. Cracks are expanding and growing each day and are virtually tearing up the ground, destroying properties and affecting the safety and the livelihood of thousands of residents. As shown in these images, the expansion of cracks is becoming a big concern for property owners. Anyone confronted with this type of situation will inevitably be forced to abandon their home. The other big problem now facing island residents involves the formation of methane gas, which is becoming a serious health risk. The gas is seeping up through the various fissures created by the eruption, where it begins to ignite, producing a blue flame as seen in this image taken near the Lalana Estates, which has been hard hit by the flow of lava. The blue flames produced from the lower East Rift Zone are the latest reminder of the dangerous and escalating situation on the Big Island, as shown in this video clip from the USGS Hawaiian Volcano Observatory on May 22nd. Outside of the two biggest concerns at this time, the flow of the molten rock has reached the sea, where it has now begun generating plumes of lava haze, referred to as laze, when it interacts with seawater. The laze is a dense cloud of toxic gas and small shards of volcanic glass, a deadly combination of material that poses serious implications for anyone who dares to venture near its presence. Therefore, people are being warned to maintain a safe distance from the toxic cloud. This overflight of Kilauea's volcano's lower East Rift zone, provided by the USGS on May 21st, shows the interaction of lava and seawater to produce a Lay's plume. The interaction sends hydrochloric acid and steam with fine glass particles into the air. Lay's drifts with the wind and can be a health hazard for people in the immediate vicinity of the plume. The video also shows the rapid fragmentation of lava when it enters the ocean. What has Hawaiian officials concerned has to do with a reactivated fissure from Hawaii's Kilauea volcano that threatens the Big Island's geothermal plant with a new lava flow that developed on May 22nd, which could trigger the release of toxic gases if it reaches the wells at the plant. Hawaii County civil defense officials said if lava interacts with the wells, it could release dangerous hydrogen sulfide gas. Plant workers are scurrying to finish plugging the 11 geothermal wells in order to minimize the risk of toxic gas release. The Puna geothermal plant began operations in 1989, but the land on which it was built has long been considered a sacred place by native residents of Hawaii, who have vented their frustrations as to why it was built on land that is revered, as well as their concerns about health and safety involved with its operation. As long as the volcano continues to erupt and new fissures continue to form or existing ones expand further, then new problems will develop on the Big Island. So far, 50 structures have been destroyed and 2,000 residents have been evacuated since the beginning of the Kilauea eruption on May 3rd. Upper winds and cloud patterns are displaying remarkable signs of change. What was once considered normal patterns years ago are becoming highly unusual in recent years. These days we only hear of record downpours, unprecedented hailstorm events, intensified wind-driven events, and electromagnetic storms. In turn, the record-setting seasonal weather events are taking a toll on the world's crop yield. There are very few explanations for why these strange events are happening. It might be that cosmic rays are playing a role in climate change, but the unpredictability of these atmospheric events seem far from normal. In the sky over Antwerp, Belgium, clouds began to swirl on the evening of May 22nd. Residents were astonished by the bizarre spectacle in the sky. Images of the phenomena were quickly posted to Facebook. Jill Peters, who is a Belgian meteorologist, was taking a walk at the moment of the sighting and happened to notice the motionless, gigantic swirl in the clouds. But she was unable to capture the formation because she did not have her phone with her. Luckily, another observer had already photographed the spectacle and had posted it online. Miss Peters later commented on Twitter that this unusual whirlwind in the sky is what is referred to as a divergent eddy, where air collects at a great height and then begins to flow downwards. The cloud is actually not motionless, but rather moves at a slow pace. Strange weather anomalies are becoming more common around the world as a result of atmospheric changes. Giant fissures are developing at a steady clip across much of the world. These huge cracks in the Earth's surface can be attributed to a number of causes, including seismic and volcanic activity, a shifting of tectonic plates, or the erosion of land masses due to torrential rains. But the development of fissures can also be caused by gravitational forces, which affect the Earth's outer core, creating crustal displacement.
On May 24th, a series of big cracks opened in the African country of Uganda. Local newscasters said that the cracks, which had developed and had destroyed 300 homes in localized communities, were the result of torrential rains. Evacuations have been ordered for those affected by the formation of the cracks. The events follow similar cracks in neighboring Kenya over the past 2 months. Both countries sit on the East African Rift, an active continental rift zone in East Africa. The rift represents a narrow zone where the African plate is in the process of splitting into 2 tectonic plates called the Somali Plate and the Nubian Plate. On May 22nd, hurricane-force winds and hailstorms engulfed Astana, the capital city of Kazakhstan, toppling down a giant crane in an event that was described as an apocalyptic weather anomaly.
Он падает, смотри. Ё-моё!
Да ну.
Офигеть, я в шоке.
What is considered an extremely rare anti-solar arc formed in the sky over Oslo, Norway on May 21st. It appeared as a strange glowing X floating in the sky. According to the photographer, the phenomenon was visible for less than 2 minutes. As the plane moved into the clouds, the image faded from view. This type of phenomena is very elusive. It requires an observer to be in the right spot at the right moment, as was the case with this airline passenger who captured this phenomenal image from the sky. On May 15th, near-Earth asteroid 2010 WC9 glided across the sky. According to the Minor Planet Center, the asteroid was traveling at a speed of 28,665 miles per hour, or more than 46,000 kilometers per hour. At the time of this capture, the asteroid was about 454,000 miles from the Earth. The asteroid measures between 196 and 426 feet in diameter, which makes it the size of the Statue of Liberty. The asteroid moved rapidly past our planet at a distance of 126,000 miles, or half the distance between the Earth and the Moon. According to earthsky.org, this was one of the closest approaches ever observed of an asteroid of this size. This asteroid has been placed in the class of the Tunguska impactor, which leveled a forest in Siberia in the year 1908, and it is at least 3 times as large as the Chelyabinsk meteoroid, which exploded in the morning sky over Russia on February 15, 2013, shattering windows and knocking people to the ground. Asteroid 2010 WC9 was first spotted by the Catalina Sky Survey in the year 2010, but astronomers lost track of it once it became too faint to see. The lost asteroid was rediscovered on May the 8th. Just prior to its flyby between the Earth and the Moon. The asteroid cannot be seen to the naked eye, but is visible with high-powered telescopes. When you look to the sky, you are looking onto the heavens. You look to the sky for meaning in times of suffering when trying to process that which seems incomprehensible. From the sky you hear the quiet solitude of strength that very often is lost in the unrelenting noise wrought by this world. By looking to the sky, the mysteries of your existence will be unveiled, much like the pages of a book, and you shall come to know the truth of all things. Thanks for watching.